All right. Welcome to the Bring Your Own Photo Show in May 2026. And I have the first speaker in Juliana. Are you here?
Yes, I have to apologize because my phone is ringing. I don't know if you can hear it, but I don't know how to turn it off. So
Ah,
okay, it just
we
stopped.
can hear you okay. We can hear you okay. No
Okay.
problem. Yeah.
So no, go back.
Go back.
Yes.
All
So
right.
my talk is about two trips I took to Japan this winter. One was in early January and the second one in late February. And there were two areas that I photographed birds in. The first one was Tokyo, both times. And then northeastern Hokkaido both times, but in different places. So I'll start with the Tokyo portion. So now you can go to the next. Okay, so this is a very common bird in Eurasia, and it's a tufted duck, but I just like it's stuffed better than all the other photos of this bird I took before, so that's why it's included.
Mm.
Next. This is a falcated duck, and this was a lifer for me, and this was seen in the outside moats of the Imperial Palace um, of Japan. So I was very happy. Apparently, they spend winters in these moats, so it's very easy to get close to them. Next. This is a little grebe, which is quite common in all of Eurasia. I've seen it in at least 4 different countries, 2 in Africa, 1 in Europe, and I think India as well. And the reason this is included is because it's the closest I've been to one of them, and it's my best shot of one. Next. This is a bull-headed shrike, which is a common bird in the Far East. And it was also a lifer for me. I saw it on both trips, and it was hanging out on the same tree both times. Next. My last photograph from Tokyo is again of a very common bird. It used to be called Japanese white-eye. Now it's called the warbling white-eye. And the reason I included it is because I enjoyed seeing the plum blossoms next to it. So next, I'm going to start with my Hokkaido portion of the presentation. Next photo. Okay, so I know the admonition about the subject of the photograph to be birds. So in that respect, I included 2 very distant red-crowned cranes. But really what this photo is about is an early morning in January at minus 19 degrees centigrade. So you can see what the vegetation looks like at such a temperature. And then for those who don't know centigrade, it's about minus 2F as well.
Yeah.
Next. So the second Hokkaido trip was to a place called Rausu, which is kind of a mob scene at the end, starting in the end of January to early March. where photographers get on boats to get to drift ice in the Okhotsk Sea and watch a couple of nice eagles. It turns out the drift ice 5 or 10 years ago was in the port of Rausu itself. But nowadays, because of global warming, you have to go out about 10 kilometers to get to the drift ice. So it was a spectacular trip as far as I'm concerned. So this is a white-tailed eagle, and this is a resident of northern Hokkaido, but it's only a visitor in other parts of Japan. However, this is a bird that's extremely widespread, through, from Iceland and Greenland all the way to Japan and going through northern Russia. Next. Well, the highlight of the trip was the stellar sea eagle, which only comes to northern Japan in winter. I think it arrives about November in the States until March. And you get to see them really close up if you get out on a boat and get to the drift ice. Well, it was a memorable trip, as I said. Next. So I have a couple of photographs of the tails of the two birds that you just saw. This is a juvenile white-tailed eagle, and it has a tail that's kind of rounded, and also it has the black fringes at the ends. So as they mature, all the black disappears, and all the black disappears, and all the tails are white. And my final photograph. So this is a juvenile stellar sea eagle, and the shape of the tail is very different from the other eagle. This is kind of triangular in shape. However, the black endings seem to be similar to for a juvenile as they are for the white-tailed eagle. This completes my presentation.
Oh, fantastic, Juliana. This is really good photographs. Thank you. All right. We have Leah. I don't know if she's been able to join the call today. Oh, there she is. Yeah, I see her.
Yes. Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Let me know when you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Oh.
I'm sorry. My dog is barking. This is I took a trip to Brazil, to Pantanal, and this picture is from Pantanal. And as many of you know, it's a very wet region that has savannas, and it also has a lot of rivers that flow through it. So this picture was taken there in the savannas. There are these huge cattle ranches, and on them there were these are streamer-tailed tyrants that were sitting on the branches, and these are the streamer-tailed tyrants. Next. And then another thing that I did was I saw in those same cattle ranches a lot of greater rheas. And the greater rheas, they eat broadleaf things, and they also eat a lot of insects. So actually, the farmers kind of like them. And they are very an interesting thing because the male actually incubates, he makes the nest, he incubates the young, the eggs, and then he tends the chicks. And what's interesting is the female just goes off, and sometimes multiple females will lay their eggs in the same nest. So they're a very interesting bird to have such a life. Anyway, next, and the same time that we were seeing all of these huge cattle ranchers, we were actually driving up the Pantanal, the Transpantanera road, and we came to a lodge, which is also a cattle farm. And in the front of it were these palm trees, and on the palm trees were these hyacinth macaws, which is the world's largest macaw. So there are a lot of fairly large birds in the Pantanal. Actually, those ones that I showed you of the great rhea, sometimes they're 40 to 60 pounds, so they're quite a large bird. And the macaw is also quite a large bird. But I think they have such a enchanting sort of half smile, like, okay, next. And then, as you would expect in wet places, there are a lot of herons. And this is a whistling heron, which is very beautiful, I think, with the blue around his eye and the unusual feathers on him. He gets his name because they do apparently make a whistle. Next. And then we have the capped heron. We saw the capped heron. And all of these we saw while basically riding in, well, we actually stayed in a very large boat that had 3 stories, and we ate there and everything. But then we went out and birdwatch. We did it in a small boat with maybe 4 people. And this is where we saw the capped heron, which is unusual because it has the yellow on him and the blue on his eye. Next. And this is the agami heron, which we actually saw from a boat. It was in a river on an island. And the agami heron is apparently very difficult to see normally. But this bird was right in the open, in the sun. So I was able to get this very nice picture of him. And he has wonderful feathers on his neck and chest. Next. And this is the same agami heron stretching out his wings. Again, he was on an island, and I was in the boat, and he was right there in the sun, and so I was able to get a good picture of him. I have seen one in Belize, but it was at night and very difficult to see, and so this one was an unusual picture in that I was able to get such a clear view of him. Next. And then we were coming into one of the lodgings, and it was there was a jabiru, and I was in the front of the boat. It was a small boat with just a few people in it, and I was coming in, and I was actually looking up at this jabiru, and the jabiru. I thought, "Ooh, my gosh, is he gonna hurt me or something?" Because he was, they are very tall. They're about 5 feet tall, and they have no feathers on their head and on their neck, and this red is on the base of the neck. So they're quite unusual. Next. And the reason that he was there was because I didn't know it at the time, but the guide was throwing him a fish. So he'd come to the shore to get his fish because he knew the guide was going to throw it. And that's why he was there. And you'd think that a bird that's that big, that's 5 feet tall, or sometimes they're a little bit more than 5 feet, would not be able to fly. But they are able to fly. Next. And this is a picture of the jabiru nest, which is in the top of a tree. And it's interesting because if you look at the end of that, if you look at the end of that branch, there's a crested caracara, and they do predate pretty large birds. They actually have been known to take out Rhea's hatchlings. So he was probably interested in the nest, either to get a baby jabiru, or maybe if one of the babies died, he would pick off some of the carrion, because they do eat carrion. So those are my pictures. Okay, that's it.
Wonderful. You had quite a season already.
It was fun.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Uh-huh.
All right. Next we have John.
Hello.
Hi, John. Are you ready?
Hi. Okay. All these photos were taken from a trip that we had been postponing for quite a number of years out to West Papua, New Guinea. And so, which means birds of paradise, which means kingfishers, which means a lot of very unique species found nowhere else in the world. So we'll give it a little try here. I have a little sampling. I'd like to give a little longer presentation on this trip, but why don't we start now?
Yep. Thank you. One second. Yep.
There we go. Okay, this is a common paradise kingfisher. Note the striking blue and the orange beak and the long tail feather. That's there are a number of these paradise kingfishers out in this part of the world, this being one of them. Next. This is a palm cockatoo. They're quite distinctive, kind of hilarious. Beautiful, bare skin, on his face. And he's eating a palm nut, which they're specialists in because of the beak, and they're really delightful to watch if you're lucky enough to see them. Next. And this is a Papuan eclectus parrot. And again, you can tell by the beak, very strong beak. He goes after palm nuts. And so this is a male, very distinctive coloration. The female is, I think, even more spectacular. It's just electric red, and just stands out. I didn't put it in here, but I have good shots of it. So, we've been out here 5 times, and they're all private trips. This particular trip, it was led by quite a well-known macro photographer, Chen Li, who's based in Sarawak, Borneo. And he was really great to have along because he was young, he was strong, and he helped with the luggage, which my wife and I needed. This is a really, really hard trip. You know, you're in rubber boots every day. Anyway, let's go to the next one. This is a Papuan pitta. So their pittas in the old world are remarkably beautiful, unlike most of our pittas in the new world. So, and this one was particularly hard to see because they're a deep forest bird. Next. And this is a Western crowned pigeon. Usually, if you're lucky, you can find these things scurrying around on the ground. They're quite a large bird. This particular guy was on the ground, and then I heard this huge rush of feathers and uh, branches being broken and leaves falling, and there he was up in the tree. So quite a large bird, makes a lot of noise. You can tell they're living dinosaurs. Next. This is one that I've been wanting to get for a long time. It's a yellow-billed kingfisher. And this is the male. The female has a little black cap. But the coloration is beautiful on this. And
yeah,
hello?
watching turkeys.
Right.
Yeah.
Valerie, can you please mute yourself?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we good?
Yes,
Okay.
we are. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So another kingfisher. Some of my favorite species, favorite family. Next. All right, now we're in the birds of paradise. This being the Wilson's bird paradise. It's found, really the only place it's found is in Waigeo, which is an island off the mainland of West Papua. And this is striking in a lot of ways, not only the incredible colors, but also how black this bird is. It's just blacker than black. And it just makes his, the top of his head, which is bare blue, and he's got, yellow and red, and then he has that incredible tail. It's all driven by sexual selection by the females. The females come in and they watch these birds of paradise, and they make their choice as to whether he is a good dancer or not. All these males dance for the females. And so right now he's cleaning up his dance floor. It's what they usually do early in the morning before the female shows up. Next. This is the king bird of paradise. I've got various pictures of him, but the camera was pointing straight up, and I got him so you can see his tassels, which he can raise those and lower them like little flags, to entice the female. But the red is just spectacular on this bird, and little blue feet. Next. This is called the Western Parodia. You may have seen this particular bird maybe on nature shows, but what it does, it has tassels on top of its head. It has eight tassels, and it has this incredible metallic shield in the front, and he knows how to shine that to the female. I have a great sequence of videos on this bird. What he does, gets down on the dance floor, he bows, he straightens up, and then he starts dancing. And he's able to create his ballerina-like look by forming his feathers, where he has almost like a skirt, like a tutu, and he dances for the females. And if the females like him, they run off and do their thing. but it's just a remarkable show. See this bird dance. Next. This is a magnificent bird of paradise, and he's showing for the. Actually, there are two females that he was showing for. I didn't get him when he was. They have a way of raising their feathers, and when they're really into it. This one I just wanted to show the different colors, the different textures, the different gradations, the tail. It just these birds are absolutely stunning. There's nothing else like them in the world.
Yeah.
Next. This is the red bird of paradise. He's got some incredible deep red coloration in his tail feathers, and he has these two long streamers that he has full mobility of, and he has great green eyes, and he dances on a pole for the female high up in the tree. It's a great bird. Next. That's it.
Was it?
Okay.
But wow.
Thank you.
That's an incredible. Now I'm eager to see the videos actually, if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. At some point. If you post them on YouTube, please share the link. I think you went on mute. No. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I will do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Sridhara.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Next speaker is C.L. Murphy.
It's actually Carol.
Oh, Carol. Okay. I was wondering. Okay. Hi, Carol.
I usually, when I do photographs, I put CL just in case.
Okay.
So it's Carol. But you can go to the next slide.
Okay.
So I'm actually jealous of everybody because I don't get to spend a whole lot outside of California right now because I've been raising kids and getting them through college and all that kind of fun stuff. And my husband just retired this last month, so we're hoping to do some traveling and maybe then I'll have better pictures. But what I thought I'd do is concentrate about some of the beauty that's actually in California. So just some pictures that I've taken outside within the Bay Area, mostly from the Los Altos area. I traveled to the Merced Wildlife Refuge in Staten Island in the Central Valley, and then the Marengo Canyon and Joshua Tree. So next. So this is one of my favorite pictures only because I grew up in the desert and always saw the California quail. And he just happened to come by and look at my feeders. And it was just surprising that he was in Los Altos until I happened to walk around and there was a lot of little quails. The sad news, though, is in Los Altos, a lot of new people are coming in and building these huge houses and then destroying all the habitat that these guys used to hide in. So I have not seen the California quails now for at least 5 years within my area. So I'm sad about that.
Yeah.
Next. This guy was one of those where you go hiking, you sit on a bench, you see him out there, the great heron, and he was just walking and kind of stalking. And I hadn't really thought about what he was doing until I caught this picture. And as you can see, the poor little gopher is hanging on for life, trying to get off his bill. And in the next shots, what you don't see is he just lifted him up the air and swallowed him. And it was just, to me, amazing. It's one of those shots that you like to get because it has some action in it. Next. And this is one of my first flight pictures where I caught this guy just coming in and just landing with all of his feathers completely out. And I was just surprised that I actually caught this. And that's the great, I think that's the great one, right? The snowy. Next. Now this one's not a good shot, But what I was surprised with is he was flying over Los Altos. I was out in my backyard. I was taking pictures of just birds, and he just flew right above my house. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he was just soaring with the wind. And what I think he was doing was actually training a smaller bird, one of his youngs, how to fly and catch the wind, the currents. So I was really surprised because he is one of my lifetime birds. And so the next picture, I was fortunate enough to catch one at Merced. And I just really like the eagle. I'm just a big fan of him. And I had gone up to Oregon and Washington a couple times and never was able to catch him. So I was really happy with this photo. So this is actually now in Merced. And next, this is the vermilion flycatcher. When we had done the Merced refugee, we were like searching all over for this, and we just happened to see some other photographers who said, oh, we know where this guy is. You need to go exactly here. And he was there, and it was just really surprising at how beautiful he is. And, you know, to see the different colors. Next. And this is your standard Staten Island, but the reason why I included this picture is this is one of the times I learned all about haze and how haze can affect your pictures. So I had taken a ton of pictures of these cranes and got home and was thinking, oh my God, these are all blurry. Why are they so blurry? And then did some research on it and found out all about heat haze and how it can just destroy your pictures. This one was edited enough that you could actually try to pull them out, but heat haze is just a pain. Next. And this is one of my favorite pictures. He's not a fabulous picture. He's just a little Rufus. But what I liked about him was this kind of shows you that you just start taking a whole bunch of pictures. And then when you get home, you're going through them and you're like, oh my God, I don't even remember taking this picture. And it was just perfect with his wings out. He was fighting somebody at the feeders. And so I just really like this picture. And I think my last one next. So I'm going back. This is a gamble quail, which is Southern California. And I just wanted to show you the difference between the gamble quails and the California quails, which I'm sure most of you know since you get to travel. And that's my end of my pictures.
Actually, fantastic, Carol. You mind if I ask a quick question to the group?
Sure.
For the hummingbird, isn't this an Allen's instead of a Rufus?
No, I think isn't it the Rufus?
Yeah,
now I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, experts need to tell me though. Yeah.
I always thought it was the Rufus because of the Rufuses always have the really bright orange in their tails.
No, the tail has to have a notch for the Rufus, the second wing, I think. So maybe somebody else can correct me, but I'm thinking this is an Allen's.
Clearly, the tail is the identifying piece. You really got a perfect picture to do it.
Yeah. A beautiful shot.
Oh, thank you. Because I thought the Allen, I'll have to look it up, but I thought the Allens, when I looked it up, I thought they had something different within their tails. So I'd have to look it up again.
I think it may be the little white marks on the tails, but you definitely can tell them apart from the tails.
Yes, and that's what I thought, and that's why I thought
shot,
it was.
Yeah. Perfect shot to do the ID. Excellent. Yeah, thank you though. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Okay. Beautiful. OB, you are next, actually. So
okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, no, I'm ready. Go ahead. Basically, most of these pictures come from a trip where part of this group before had been Bob Lewis and Peter Evolution. I don't see them tonight, but the three of us went on a trip where we got on a cruise ship to go down. First, we went to Vancouver, and then we went to Puerto Vallarta. But in between, or as we were going there, we went down to San Diego to take off. So Peter found some of the birds by eBird that we could take a little quick look at. So this is a bird that turned out to be in the neighborhood of San Diego, and I guess it's a released bird. I had had pictures of it before when I was in Chile, but it was way far away and they weren't very good. So in May, there were about 40 birds of these kind around this house. When we came back in September, there were 70. And there's a lady that feeds them there, so they came in quite some numbers. Anyway, this is a burrowing parakeet that's basically a transplant plant found in San Diego. So then you can go to the next one. We went to Anza Borrego and drove from San Diego to there and got a number of different little birds along the way. This is a phoenicopila. And I hadn't gotten very good pictures of that in the past, so I was really pleased with this one. And I can do the next one. And this is a Harris's hawk. Also on the drive, we saw a group of 4 or 5 of them, and we got them flying and we got them landing. And I had seen them once before, but this was nice, much better photography opportunity. Next. So then we went out on the purpose of the trip was to try and get some of these birds that are out in the ocean all the time. So one group that we were getting was boobies. So this is a Nazca booby. It was also an interesting opportunity with flight shots because they're coming alongside the boat, in some cases quite a distance away. The boobies did a little bit better in getting a little closer. So that's the Nazca, and then you go to the next one. That's a couscous booby. There were quite a number of them around as well, and they show up in fairly different colors some of the time. So I like the wingspan on him. And then you can go to the next one. This is a red-footed booby, and I didn't barely get to see his feet, but I only got a couple shots of him before he was gone. I hadn't seen him before. And you can go to the next. This is the other trip. This is the shearwaters. This is a black vented shearwater. And these guys they tended to go away from the boat every time you saw one. So getting one where you got to see something besides his rear end was a bit of a trick. So that's the black vented. Then you can go to the next one. That's a pink-footed shearwater. This long wingspan like that, when you get to the pictures, that's how you tell them apart, by some of the different colorations that show up on the wings like that. I had a hard time identifying some of these guys. Okay, I guess we got one or two more. This was down in a cemetery down by Palo Alto. This is a crossbill, and I had first seen these in Canada 20-some years ago, and this is the first time I've seen them since then. And in the cemetery, there was a water feature, and so they came down to the water feature. It turned out that they apparently were nesting in one of these fake trees that's actually a telephone tower, and they come in some numbers. So up there, they were in quite large numbers, but it was much further away. But I was really tickled with getting this guy. And I got one more. This guy was a lot of fun. This is at my house. And basically, he came to the window, and I guess he was seeing his reflection. So he'd peck at the window and tell me he was there. So I took this with the cell phone from my dining room through the window. I'm not sure he ever saw me. I think he was busy seeing himself in the window. But getting this close to this guy was a treat. It was a bush tip.
Yeah. A superb collection.
Yeah, a little bit of variety.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
that's it for me.
Thank you, Obi. Steve.
Oh, hello, everyone. Before I get started, I want to thank Sridhara for another great year of hosting Bay Area bird photographers. I I'm not sure if you're all aware, but this group has been meeting 9 times a year for, I think it's been about 50 years now. And so Sridhara has put in several years keeping this organization going, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure we all do. So
We sure do.
thank you,
Thank you.
Sridhara.
No, I
Really
really
appreciate
appreciate. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so for a change, all my birds were taken locally. We can go to the next slide. They're all taken in March of this year. Just kind of went through quickly and grabbed some. And so it's a bit of a change because I didn't travel very far. So I've been trying to change up my style a little bit. So I've been getting more, birds that are small in the frame. So this is one attempt at that. The sun was just coming up in this picture of the meadowlark, and the hillside was in shade, so it gave some, I guess, dramatic lighting on this little bird. Next. Okay, another small bird. This is an Allen's hummingbird taken out in Half Moon Bay. Next. And this bird's not too small in the frame, but again, in Half Moon Bay, this Wilson's warbler singing. Again, I was out in March. The birds were just starting. At least some of the birds were just starting to come to life and exhibiting their breeding behavior. The one before, the Allen's hummingbird, that was on territory. It kept landing on several branches in the area. And this one, of course, is singing, trying to find a mate. Next. And again, in March, the blue-gray gnatcatchers just started showing up, and this guy landed on this poison oak and started singing for me. Well, not for me, for a female, hopefully nearby. Next. And the same location, again on poison oak, this California thrasher, singing also. Next. And we're back on the coast. Black oyster catcher frolicking in the waves. And again, in March, if you're lucky, as I was, I saw them mating. And this one was on the beach with another one, at least part of the time. And here he looks like he's kind of trying to outrun a wave. But he really wasn't that afraid of the water. Next. As you can see, he used it for bathing.
Sharp.
Next. And this was taken at Coyote Hills. This bird apparently has been around for 10 years or more at various places in the San Francisco Bay. And I was up there one day up on a hill and I saw him way in the distance. So I'd already hiked several miles that day, so I really didn't want to go chasing him, but I went back at sunrise the next morning, hoping he would be in the same spot. And so I walked out on the levees and got in a good position, and he was there. So that was pretty fun because, well, it's a beautiful bird that we don't see every day around here. Next. And here's just another shot of it's a Chilean flamingo, by the way. Next. And my last one, this was taken at Shoreline Lake at sunrise. These are Bonaparte skulls. It just kind of cruised by me just at the right time to show off in the morning light. And I think that's all.
Beautiful. I think that's the best photo of the Chilean flamingo we have seen.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. He's usually so far away.
Yeah, I had to walk a bit of a ways.
Well, thank you, Steve. All right, Leah.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So I have a little write-up. All the pictures that I'm showing tonight were taken in Brazil at a family farm, and I'm gonna hammer this thing. It's a Sitio Macaquino, I think, in the Atlantic forest, just south of Sao Paulo. The proprietors of this property are very accommodating to photographers and birdwatchers alike. They have several flat pools of water set up with feeders in the rear, so photographers can get a good reflection of the birds while they're waiting for their turn at the bananas that they put out there. They've also crafted a small shower for the birds to either bathe or shower. And I'll tell you, it is just such pleasure to watch a bird just completely immerse themselves in, bathing, just like as one of Steve's pictures just saw, with the oyster catcher. I mean, there was just so many of them. I have so many pictures of birds bathing, and it was just great. But I'm not going to show any of those tonight, but it was really cool. There's also so many different hummingbirds there in this particular area, and they have a number of different type of feeders for them. So, I don't like trying to show a picture of a hummingbird with a feeder, but we all know the hummingbirds kind of float back, after they're eating a little bit, they float back a little bit, just enough for them to be out of the frame of the humming or of the feeder, or you can crop them out of the feeder. So that's actually pretty cool. So I hope you like the 10 photos that I selected for this. Just to let you know, on that Brazil trip, we saw 131 different birds and I think 16 or 17 different species. And I know that, that's one of my jaguar pictures. I know it's not a bird, but yes, I know you would like me to do a presentation on all my stuff. I know, I
Yes,
know.
yes.
But it's getting something together. I definitely could talk for an hour without a problem. But yeah, they may not all contain birds because some of the pictures I have are pretty cool, like that one. All right, so go ahead. Next one, first picture. So this is the female's not in focus, but this is a male and a female blue Dacnus. I just think that nature's fun. Look at the difference between the two colors. He is just vibrant, vibrant blue, and she's not too bad either. But many different colors with her. Go to the next one. I think this was my favorite little bird there, I swear. This is a brassy-breasted tanager. Lots of tanagers at this little location. Yeah. But you can see how, it's sitting at the edge of the pool, and at the back of, right at the drop off there, there's a feeder at the end of it. And you just get these perfect reflections. Go to the next one. This is a burnished buff tanager. It was raining that day, so you have a little bit of raindrops in there too. Super pretty though, different colors. Next. This is a black goggle tanager, and one of these pools, they had a little groot at the end of it, so I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, these little black goggle tanagers, they were everywhere, and they have a little, the little crest that they'll put up too, but didn't get that picture. Yeah. Next. My only shot of the Brazilian tanager. We saw him exactly once. And that was it. So, and he was very, very far away. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Next. Yeah, pretty. Yeah, really pretty. Next. This is a tropical parula, and he was just about ready to take a bath too. I do have pictures of him taking a bath, but not here. Yeah, and it's funny because they just completely immerse themselves, like turn themselves upside down like they're in a washing machine. Yeah. Okay, next. It's a golden chevron tanager. Has just a little bit of chevron or the gold on his wing. Next. I love this picture. It's a sapphire spangled emerald. They are so small. It's amazing. But yeah, these guys really did like to kind of go in and out and in and out of the feeders. But it was just really pretty.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Next. This is a violet-capped wood nymph. Another tiny, tiny hummingbird. And then I have one more. Next. This is the scale-throated hermit. I wish that I had a picture with its tail, because it's just flares out its tail, and it's so long and so pretty. Black and white tips. really pretty.
Yeah,
That's all I
gorgeous.
have. That's all I have.
Oh, fantastic. I think, Leah, you're ready for next year, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I could, but just to let you know that I'm about ready to go to Tanzania in a couple weeks.
Yeah, next year is,
So
we're talking October. No, October, John has signed up, so November. Yeah.
yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, well, November. I might be able to make
Yeah.
it by then.
Yeah. No, we love this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Mark.
Hi, everyone. I'm a newcomer. I just
Welcome.
moved here a little over a year ago from North Carolina, and I've had a great time exploring all the new places and the new birds out here. It's been a lot of fun, and I've also found everyone out here to be unbelievably collegial. People are always telling me, "Oh, you got to check out this place. Go here, go there." I've been really impressed with how nice everyone is and how willing they are to share their information. So really
Welcome,
appreciate
Mark.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
welcome.
so
Yeah.
I'm just going to show some pictures actually from North Carolina, where I lived the last 30 years.
Fantastic.
Some different birds from what you might see out here. Not some of them are similar, but you can go to the next slide. This is just a cedar waxwing, and I lived in a cul-de-sac, and so we had all these ornamental cherry trees in the common area, and I had the hardest time getting a clear background. You know, there's always branches behind them or other birds or other. But I finally parked my car so they wouldn't see me. I was being discreet, and I kind of just parked on this one bare branch, hoping to get a clean shot. So this was like one of my favorite cedar waxwing shots that didn't have a bunch of other stuff in the way. Next. This is an eastern phoebe. Not the most colorful bird, but they would nest under my porch, and so I set up a little perch out in front of my porch so that they would land on this perch here and then fly in. And it's unbelievable what these things could catch and what they would bring back. This is a dragonfly, and you can see his belly's wet because I lived on a lake and they'd be flying over the lake catching all these birds. They brought spiders and horse flies and just these huge insects. I don't know how they shoved them in their babies' mouths, but anyway, this was just one of my favorite shots just because it kind of has a cool dragonfly in it too.
Amazing.
Next. This is the eastern bluebird. Again, I had a hard time getting a clean background with these guys. I have all these beautyberry bushes in my backyard, and they just love to eat them in the late fall and early winter. And again, I kind of parked myself where I had a clean branch and got a pretty good shot of a male. Next. I lived on a lake, and so every year I was always waited for the winter ducks to come down. Once the lakes froze up north, they'd come down to North Carolina. And this is a juvenile male hoodie with a fish, and you can see he's going really fast, paddling really fast because there are other mergansers chasing him. He never did swallow, couldn't get that fish down. It was just too big for him. They're little mouth, and I'm not sure what kind of fish it was, but I always look forward to them coming back every winter. Next. This is the belted kingfisher. I know you guys have these out here too. I've seen them around. Again, I would come on the lake. They're pretty skittish, but this guy basically flew right into me and landed on this branch and proceeded to bang this fish around and finally threw it up in the air, and I was able to catch it in midair. Next. This is from a nearby dam. The dam has kind of had like a reddish, like painted hue on it, and when the sun came up, it would give this kind of golden orangey look to the water. And I happened to catch a great blue heron jumping off those rocks and catching a black crappie in the water with a pretty nice reflection. Next. This is actually from the Outer Banks of North Carolina. I really love watching osprey fish. It's just so cool to see them just bang into the water and come up with a fish. So this was one of my only really ocean shots. Usually I see them on the lakes, but this was in the ocean on the Outer Banks. Next. We only have one species of hummingbird in the eastern United States. This is the ruby-throated, but it's actually an immature male, so it doesn't look too cool. But they're always battling, bees and for the flowers. So I just caught this guy trying to, and the bees usually don't even care, but this guy was all over it trying to scare him off this flower. Next. This is, I guess the flickers are all northern flickers are all the same now. There's kind of an eastern variety. This is the yellow shafted, I think it used to be called. And I know you guys have the red shafted, which I've seen a few times out here, but they would come to my feeders in the wintertime only, hitting the suet. So I set up a perch and tried to get him flying from the perch to the suet feeder. But they always came really early in the morning. It was hard the light was tough. But anyway, this was one of my favorite shots of him showing off his beautiful yellow feathers. Next. This is one of my favorite warblers that would come back every spring. It's a prothornitary warbler. They call it a swamp warbler, or some people call them the canary of the swamp warbler. They're one of only two cavity nesting warblers, and so you can see there's a nest right behind him. This is the male, and they have a really, really loud song, and they just really do kind of light up the swamp. So that was always one of my favorite warblers, and that's it.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot.
Excellent shots, Mark. I mean, the actions are just amazing.
Thanks.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah. All right, and Kurt.
Hey, thank you. Hey, first off, these photos tonight have been amazing. Really enjoyed seeing everybody's photos. So you can go to the first slide. So last year we moved to a new house on the coast, and I live right across the street from an open space. So all these photos are basically from what I kind of think of as my backyard, or I guess I should say my front yard, because it's out my front door. And so this is a barn owl that these guys were around in August, September, and October. And I actually didn't know they were there at first, but I was out walking my dog in the open space one night. It was getting pretty late. And there were these two guys that got out of a car, and they had tripods and long lenses and everything. And obviously they were gonna, do some serious photography. So I asked them what they were looking for, and they were pretty dismissive. They just thought I was just, a dog walker. But they did reveal that they were there to photograph owls. And I thought, that's interesting because I haven't seen any owls here. And I started to leave, but then I thought, I watched them for a while to see where they went. And then I started to leave, but then I thought, well, wait a minute, it's almost dusk. I'm going to stick around and see what's going on. So I went a different way. And within minutes, one of these barn owls flew about 10 yards from my head right next to the trail. So I thought to myself, aha, there are definitely owls here. I'm going to be coming back. And I walked by the guys, and they were in a completely different part of the open space. And my first reaction was, they were not super nice. My first reaction was, I'm just not going to tell them. But they said they'd come from out of state. So I stopped and I said, have you guys gotten any owls yet? I said, haven't seen a thing. And he said, well, go down that way and you should find some. So I saw them there the very next night, and they were able to get some owl photos. Go to the next slide. And so I started going back. I went, many times, as I put it to my wife, to, go see the owls. And this one amused me because it was coming back from, obviously it picked up a vole, but it grabbed it off the ground and picked up this big wad of grass and was coming back to the trees to eat it. So I just thought it was an amusing photo with all the grass trailing it.
Yep.
Next photo. And then my sister came from Southern California, and I said, you want to go see the owls? And she says, yeah, okay. And so we went out, and of course, we didn't see any owls. And it was really late, and we were kind of giving up, and we were starting to walk back. And then I spotted this owl right on the edge of a tree. And I barely had time to get my lens up and focused on it when it started to take off and shot this photo. And One of the things, photographers always talk about how your gear doesn't make you a better photographer. But I have to say, the cameras that we have now, this was probably shot at ISO 10,000. Um, and the capabilities that they have are actually pretty amazing. I think they do definitely allow me to take some shots that I wouldn't have been able to take without the kind of capabilities that we have now.
Yep.
Next photo. This was a red-shouldered hawk that also, these are all from the same area that I happened to see one night. And he was just hanging out on I don't know what you even call these things, one of these kind of plastic posts along the trail. And next slide. And then this is actually I saw this a couple of flickers out there one day, and this is an integrade or a hybrid red shafted, yellow shafted flicker. And I wasn't really sure. I'd never seen a flicker with yellow feathers. I was aware that there are, yellow shafted flickers. And so I wasn't quite sure what I had here. But when I came back and looked at it, discussed it with a friend, he was pointing out that there's a little bit of red leaking out from the black under the eye. And so he was explaining to me that that's a kind of a telltale sign that this is actually a hybrid flicker. So I was pretty excited. And I kept going back for probably a week every day at about the same time, hoping that these flickers would reappear. And of course, they never reappeared. So this is the only photo I got of this one. Next photo. And this was a bush tit that just happened to be right next to the trail, and I managed to get him. And a funny thing about bush tits, I participate in the Audubon bird counts here in the Bay Area. And I remember for the Palo Alto bird count, the compiler saying that the only, I think he said the only bird that shows up on every single count territory in the Audubon, in the Palo Alto circle is a bush tit. Next picture.
Yeah, cute.
They are cute. This is a northern harrier, and they're pretty common here. And I was walking back, it was pretty late. I was walking home, and I saw this harrier on top of a bush, and I could tell it seemed to be eating something, but my angle was I was coming from its rear. And so I started angling around to see if I could get a photo of it. And it didn't seem to mind that I was there, because a lot of times it feels like, when birds are eating something, if they think you're, watching them, they'll fly away or something. But this one never did. And so I was able to angle over to get a side view of it, which is better than the one from behind. Next photo. And this is a great horned owl that I photographed probably about 3 weeks ago. And this one, it hadn't gotten dark yet. It was probably a half hour, 40 minutes before sunset. And I happened to see him up in a tree. And so I was able to photograph this guy. Next photo.
Beautiful.
And this is a purple finch, which I hear them all the time out here, and don't see them very often, and even more rarely get a chance to take even a half decent photo. So this was kind of a fun photo I took a couple of weeks ago. Next photo. Oh, and this one, okay, so this is kind of a ringer. This is actually not from across the street. This is a little farther down the road. This is a golden crowned kinglet, and this is the first time I've ever been able to photograph one. This is actually the day that I submitted the photos. I had gotten this bird, and I had seen them, or heard them a lot, but usually I hear them and I don't even see them, let alone get a chance to photograph them. And then this one came down into kind of an open area, so I was able to get a photo of it. And I think that's it.
Beautiful. So the open space is in Half Moon Bay, correct?
Half Moon Bay, yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
where I live, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Vivek.
Hello. So these photos are from my recent trip to India, and they are from Assam, which is northeastern India. And let's get started. There's quite a few stories. So this first bird, this is a greater adjutant, also called hargila in Hindi, and it's a relative of the marabou stork in Africa. And there is also a lesser adjutant. I think I included that one as well. So it's down a few photos from now. But this is a conservation success story, grassroots conservation success story. And we met the lady that actually runs this program, um, Dr. Barman, and she showed us the location of these and how she did, how she ended up conserving them. And it's a fascinating story. So if anybody ever wants to know, I can send it out to the group. Yep. Next photo. And this is the lesser adjutant. It's a little bit smaller than the greater adjutant, but you can see it's also a scavenging stork, not as threatened as the greater, but also threatened. We photographed this in Assam, leaving the capital Guwahati. Okay, next. And this is the portrait of the lesser adjutant. And there is a specific difference in, they don't have the gular pouch like the graters, and the shape of their bill is different. And initially, because we didn't know these birds that well, we thought that this was the greater until Lina and I looked at this bird and realized it looks slightly different. And then we started looking, and turned out that it is a different species. Next, please. So this was one of the key birds that we wanted to photograph. This is a Bengal florican, and this was photographed near Manas National Park, and it's critically endangered. Only about 200 birds left alive, mostly because of habitat loss. But there is this one area where they have this exact habitat that you see in this photo is what they prefer. We never saw the female, and the female actually looks exactly like the grass that you see. It's like impossible to see. And this is photographed with a 600 millimeter lens with a 2x, so it's 1200 millimeters, and it's really, really far away. I would say half a kilometer away, maybe 300-400 meters away. But reasonably sharp, and it gives good looks. In fact, it flew in front of us. So let's go to the next one. During all these years in India, we had seen photos of the Indian peafowl. This is the male dancing for the female, and that usually happens in the rainy season. And you hear them; they're dancing, and there are many songs actually in local languages about the peacocks dancing in the forests. But I had never seen one, and actually I had seen a few, but they were always looking the wrong way or like butt towards me or whatever. But this particular time, it actually just like danced for us, and this is literally a full frame shot. Like, it was at the perfect distance. If it was any closer, I would have cut off some portion, and if it was any farther, I wouldn't have the definition. So this was really, really happy to get this shot. Okay. Also photographed near Manas National Park. Okay, next please. This is the college pheasant. It's a high altitude pheasant. It lives in the Himalayan foothills. This is the male, and I think I included the female too, the next shot, but this was just a lucky shot. Again, we were on this safari drive, and this one just stayed there for a long time. Gave us about 20 shots, and then scurried into the underbrush there. Next. And this was the prize of the trip. This is the great hornbill, and I believe this is the male. The male has a the red eye and the female does not have a red eye, has a white eye. So we were so wanting to see this bird, and they have very loud wing flap. So you hear them, and you immediately know to get ready. And as luck would have it, I heard them, and our driver got a call from his friend who was like half a kilometer away. He said, "Hey, they are coming towards you. Just get ready." And soon enough, they literally came like within photographing distance. And this is again very nicely flew past us. So this is just one of the sequence of the shots. Next. Okay, so there is technically a bird in this, so this qualifies. This is the cattle egret, but the bird is not the important part. This is Kaziranga National Park, and here we saw the Indian one-horned rhino, and this is what we were there for. We were there to look at these rhinos, and we were blessed to have this baby just walk right by it, and this female rhino crossed the street in front of us. The path that you see, those are the safari paths that the vehicles must follow. You're not allowed to get down or anything, and so it was kind of nice that they just went from left to right and got into better light as the day went by. Okay, next. This is a Palassus fish eagle. We saw 2 fish eagles on this trip. This is quite heavily cropped again, 1200 f8, quite far away. Sky is the background, not much of a choice there. But these flowers, this is called a silk cotton tree flower, and it was in full bloom all over the place. And so this particular fish eagle just came and sat there, gave us a few shots, and that was it. And I think this is the only bird we saw of this species, and it is a lifer. Actually, many of these birds are lifers for both me and my wife, because we had never been to that part of the country. Next. This is again another bird that is a lifer for us. This is the Indo-Chinese roller. There are many different types of rollers. India also has the Indian roller, but up in the northeast, the species is different. This is the Indo-Chinese roller, and it was sitting on this branch as we were exiting the park. And if you've been to national parks in India, they're very, very strict. So the light was fading. We were just coming to a closing time, and the driver was like, "Let's go, let's go, let's go." And this thing just sat there. And I think I photographed like 4 or 5 frames, and it was probably the best shot of an Indo-Chinese roller that I got on this trip. Next. Okay, so this is black neck stork, and this is the female. Had a nice reflection. Also, again, a lifer for both of us. Really beautiful birds in that part of the country. Next.
Oh.
And that's it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Vivek. I'm going to pause here because I thought I had one more gentleman who's, yeah, sorry. There should be one more. Give me 1 second, please. No, I did not have his photographs. I received the. Yeah, Greg, sorry about that. I received your photographs late last night, which I thought I included. I apologize. If you hold on for like, sorry, I need to stop sharing so then I can. Oof. Sorry about that. I'm going to pause for a second.
Should we talk amongst ourselves?
Yeah, if you don't. All right, Greg. Let me know when you're ready, Greg.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay, first one, I guess you can all tell it's a burrowing owl. Most of the time when you see one, you see a bunch of grass and branches and stuff in the way, but this one was up on top of this little short pole and didn't even flinch when I drove by. So I stopped by again and got a good shot of it in a good light. And glad he's there posing for me. Got some pretty impressive talons there.
Yeah.
Okay, next. And this was taken like with the Sacramento Highway 99. The short-eared owl was there on the right. That's actually a short-eared owl. It was like on the ground. It was like looking around and puffing itself up. I was kind of wondering what was up. But I kept an eye on it. And then sure enough, this gray ghost came in and dive bombed it, but he was able to jump up and get its talons out towards it in time. So it didn't really take any damage. These guys are always dive bombing each other and the other owls too. So it's gives you, but I haven't got a good shot of the owl on owl contact yet. So that's on my bucket list. Okay, next. Short-eared owl in flights. One of the ones that glad I had the noise reduction software. I actually found I have the Topaz denoise and as well as Lightroom, and I compared the two and I found that the Lightroom did a much better job of preserving details. So I'm sticking with the Lightroom. Anyway, that was my experience. I haven't tried that DxO yet, but I should probably download that and give that a try as well. Okay, next. Short-eared owl again. I don't know if any of you guys follow on YouTube that Tin Man Lee, who does a wildlife photography judge, but he's always talked about the clean backgrounds. I know the background in this would disqualify me for any like contest because it's a really distracting background, but I like the look in its eye. So I presented it here. I still like the photo. Okay, next. And I like the one this way turned out then. I like the way the shape of its wings. I think it's pretty aesthetically pleasing.
Yep.
Okay, next. I thought this is a little bit of an unusual shot of one. The way it's looking down like that, my eye is always drawn down to its eye like that and wonder what it's looking at, if it's found something that's ready to pounce or not. Something a little bit different for a short-eared owl in flight shot. Okay, next. Took some hummingbird shots at the UC Santa Cruz Arboretum. This is one of my better Anna shots. Next. Another Anna's. And these are examples of what I meant about the 42 megapixel sensor. With my old camera, that my 60D 18 megapixel camera, I couldn't have zoomed in and got this kind of detail. So this Sony with my 200-600 lens has allowed me to get these kind of photos that I couldn't have gotten before. Okay, next. And I believe this is an Allen's, right? If it's a Rufus, let me know because I think it's an Allen's. I always assume they're Allen's because I don't think I see that many Rufus ones.
Yeah, without seeing the tail spread, it's usually very difficult to differentiate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next.
Mostly, if you don't see them in migration, you can never be sure. If you see them out of migration season, then it's usually Allen's, even if you don't see the tail.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Next. I think we're near the end here. Yeah, this one, it's not the greatest because it has the feeders in the background, but it was the first time I'd ever seen a black chin hummingbird, which I believe this is what this is. This was taken up at a winery up in St. Helena because I never see these down here. I never get them in my yard of my feeders. Okay, and that's the end of my photos, I believe.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, thanks for sharing.
Sure. Thanks for hosting.
Of course, yeah. This is a lot of fun for me too. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up. This was I think from all of you, I'm going to wrap up the session today. And so I had gone to Tanzania in March this year to do a safari, actually for a couple of different places, but one of the spots was also very well known for birds, and we had a good like a 3 or 4 day where I was doing both elephants and we didn't have big cats in that area, but we actually saw lots of birds. So this is from that trip, and I'm happy to share information if anybody's interested. So this is actually quite a bit crop, and as you're all speaking about the new cameras and things, this is again cropped from a 40, I think it's a 51 megapixel Sony A1. But these are the European these are the European bee eaters. Very colorful birds. They were very far away for me, but still got a decent shot. It's in a place called Tarangire National Park. This is the Kori bustard. It is the heaviest flying bird in the world. And I don't remember the exact kilograms, but it's also very well known for its display, which, at the neck feathers will flare up and all that, but we couldn't see it. But we did get a really good look at it during, actually, in one of the downpours. And really big, huge bird. This is a gray-headed kingfisher. Gray-headed kingfisher, I think this is the male. Oh, I apologize. This is actually a woodland kingfisher, and this is the gray-headed kingfisher. This is called a Hadada ibis. It was actually collecting nesting materials, and I could actually see it, grab a lot of things from the floor and then fly up and come down again. So it's one of the cleanest shots I got. This one was my favorite. It's a tiny little bird, maybe just the size of a bush tit actually, and this is called a cordon bleu. So this is the blue-capped cordon bleu. Seed eater, really pretty bird. And this is the red-cheeked cordon bleu. So there are two different species there. And this is actually for even for Tarangire and even for Serengeti, this is a really rare roller. It's actually called the Rufus crowned roller, and it looks slightly like the rollers you see there typically, like the lilac-breasted rollers and so on. But this is a migratory bird, and the guide was telling us that this is actually quite a rare sighting, even for them. And this is the lilac-breasted roller, which is, it was pretty common. We have seen it quite a few times, but it's one of the cleanest shots I got. This was one of my favorite birds to photograph, and unfortunately, I mean, I really wanted a crisper shot of it is in flight because the tail feathers, as you can see, and the colors on the tails were very good. This is the white-headed weaver, a really pretty bird actually. In Africa, if you've been there, people talk about the big five animals to shoot, and then there are the small five. Small five are also a series of birds and other mammals which are popular but very colorful and so on. So apparently this is one of what's called the small five, and very colorful bird. That was the series from Tanzania, and I just wanted to say this we had in I think the last few weeks. I don't know if people ever had the chance. There was a bird called gargany, which was sighted in the Nob Hill Ponds, and I went there three times, and the third time I was lucky. It was at a distance, very far away. I was getting like most likely a pixel. To be honest, I think nothing more than a pixel. And then what I noticed is, this bird then flew past us, went into a pond behind me. So we had to drive out to a different spot to check it out, but we did get some really good shots. This is the Gargani in flight. And then this is the closest shot I could get of this rare bird. I'm really lucky to see it. I waited there almost 90 minutes for this photo. And that was the show. That was essentially the photographs I wanted to share. Thank you for that. But I have one special thing I wanted to do today. I hope you're okay. If people don't mind and indulge in this, can I ask in this photograph, do you guys have a favorite that you want to call out? Anybody want to take a?
Some of the birds of paradise were quite amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Me too.
I agree.
And I think the story behind that, and I hope John and John said he's going to come back in October for the full show. The photo, I mean, again, if I don't know how to judge, I'm not a judge, but in terms of a story, in terms of, showing the birds of paradise as a difficulty level, probably. So I had chosen, if you all indulge with me, I had chosen this.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, cool.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
What a story. Again, this is not a competition, right? I think this is just for fun, but I thought this photo tells so much. The male and the female in the same shot, so much of action, shows where they live and their behavior. This is just fabulous. Yeah.
We were in a hide, and we entered the hide in the dark, which is normal. And it was a wait, 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 and then he came, and actually there were two females.
Yeah.
But,
But
and I have him
what a shot.
displaying actually, but I just felt like this, my wife and I felt like this was the best.
What a shot. What a shot. What a story, actually, right? I think this is just incredible to see them. First of all, these birds of paradise are a dream for a lot of photographers, including me. And I've never seen one, but yeah, Vivek, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no. These are amazing. These inspire me to go to Papua New Guinea. John, thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Vivek.
This is literally amazing photographs of the birds of paradise.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot of physical climbing in order to get to them.
Yes. Well, yes and no. I mean, it was mixed, but it was mostly when we got in the Arfak Mountains, which is in the Bird's Head, West Papua. That was up and down. That was relatively brutal. We were in another part around Sarong, which was flatter, but equally as muddy. I mean, you were in rubber boots every day. And one time I got my boots sucked off. And so one of our guys had to go grab it, pull it out of the muck. So,
Oh wow!
but yeah, it's you have to go there and prepared for a wall of heat and humidity every day.
Mm.
And you have your choice. You could stay in a relatively decent hotel, but you had to get up at anywhere from 2:30 to 3:30 in the morning.
Ooh.
And drive about 2 hours or so, and then you start hiking. So, and some of the blinds were close, some were a distance away. Anyway,
Very appealing, actually, to a lot of us. I have to say.
well,
I have to say, yeah. But again, sorry, I didn't mean this to be anything. It's. I hope other photographers don't mind, but I think the story behind this was so appealing to me. And this is the first time I'm actually picking one because it's almost impossible to do it. But I hope you don't mind.
Great job, Sridhar. I think thank you for hosting.
Absolutely.
And I did have a question for both Leah Bavaro and Leah Moffat. I think we might be going to Pantanal, so I hope you don't mind if I reach out to you sometime.
Not at all.
Oh, same. Me too. Actually, I will ping you also.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
same.
No,
It's a
not at
great
all.
trip.
It was absolutely amazing.
And enjoy the Jaguars. They're worth it too.
I mean, every location that we stayed in on the tour that I was on, we were on a discovery tour. So let me tell you, it was exhausting because we were, in one place one night, and then we'd fly someplace and we'd be there for 2 nights, and we'd fly someplace and we'd be there for 2 nights, and then we'd drive and drive and drive and drive and drive and drive and drive. And then we eventually get to the place where we're going to get on a boat so we could go to another boat to stay in a hotel, and that's where you're going to go see the Jaguars. But we were only there for 2 days, where a lot of people, they go to the Pantanal and that's all they want to do is they want to go take the pictures of the Jaguars jumping into the water, getting a caiman, wrestling it, and then pulling it out. And they literally, that's all they go for.
Wow.
And oh yeah, we might see some birds, on the way, in the along the river and things like that. And you do see a lot of birds along the river. It's just quite amazing. And I think actually the juvenile rufescent tiger heron is prettier than the adults, but still, it's just there were just so many things to see. It's sensory overload
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
My experience was that I had something like 225 identifiable species. It was just wonderful. And on mine, we started out, for the first part of it was the pre-walk, or the pre-tour was the Atlantic forest. Then we went to the Pantanal, and we drove into the Pantanal by the Trans-Pantanera Road. And then afterwards we did the post Pantanal in a canyon that was just beautiful. And it was wonderful. It couldn't have been better. And we did see lots and lots of animals. I mean, we saw tapirs, and we saw, the jaguars and
anteaters.
yes, we saw the giant anteaters, and we saw the smaller anteater. In fact, they were playing on the ground, sort of tussling around. It was really fun. Yeah, it was
That's
great.
great to hear. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There's also a lodge called the Cristalino Lodge, and I'm not sure exactly where it is, but we did that on the same trip, and it was a wonderful place, including a great big tower that you could go up and be in the canopy.
Oh,
yeah, no, we didn't have that. Yeah,
but the Agami heron and the capped heron and those birds were in that area too.
They were wonderful. Yeah.
And you can go for the birds and then bump into the jaguars. It works fine, just fine.
Yeah. And I was so pleased to see a tapir. I'd never seen a tapir before.
I didn't know what it was until I saw it that time. It was the weirdest animal.
Yep. Maybe we have to do a wildlife show, including birds and everything else we see.
Yeah.
I can definitely see us doing it, once or twice. Yeah, for sure.
One thing that sort of surprised me, the jaguar part of it, we all got in boats. And it's kind of like when you go on a tour here for the whales. So all these boats, they're going around looking for jaguars. And then when somebody calls it in, oh, I found a jaguar. And so all of these 20 boats, I have a picture of like 20 boats all looking at the same jaguar, and he's yawning. He was really bored by the whole thing.
Yep. That happened to us too. Unfortunately, there was one time there's probably like 10 boats that were coming in around our time that we were there. And 9 of us were all just kind of like wandering around because there was a jaguar on a tree, and we could see the caiman down in the water, and everybody's being quiet, just waiting for the jaguar, and it's creeping down the tree trunk, and obviously somebody got a late call, and here they come, zoom, around, and the caiman went boop, under the water, and the jaguar went boop on the tree. And I was like, you people, you're killing me here. You just took my meal away. It was the only time we actually saw one actually hunting one. Yeah. This boy that is here, he was in a tree just kind of hanging out there yawning and stuff like that. And a lot of the jaguars, almost every picture I took of a jaguar, once I got a chance to get home and zoom in, on a large, monitor, every one of them has blood on it someplace. Yeah, whether it's in its nose or it's down its chin, or it yawns like this and there's holes, here and there, or the ears are all beat up. They all have some damage.
Wow.
I managed to get a picture of 3 of them in the same frame, the mother and her 2 cubs. And you can tell the mother because her ear was cut up. And the cubs are absolutely pristine.
Wow.
The other thing that we had one where it was all the boats around and everything. It was just a zoo, and he was just yawning and going to sleep, and because he had an infection in his eye, the doctor that we were with was diagnosing. 5 or 6 hours later, we ran into it in a different place, and we were sure it was not hungry, and then it got a caiman.
Oh, wow!
The caiman was larger than it was, and it jumped. One of the places had video cameras and everything. They missed this. It was amazing to watch.
Yeah, it is amazing. We did actually see a couple jaguar jump into the water.
Yeah,
and I mean, they really catch anything, obviously, but just watching one jump from a high cliff area just down into the water, everybody was just like, whoa.
This guy disappeared in a bunch of hyacinth and then came out with it after jumping up and jumping back down. And it was 8 or 10 feet long. I mean, it was bigger than the jaguar. It was amazing.
Yeah, they are huge cats, let me tell you.
Yeah.
They are enormous. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And somebody said,
Sounds
that this
very
one was a
exciting,
young
actually.
male.
Yeah.
And I was like, young? Oh my gosh. You should have seen the bigger ones. They were huge.
Yeah. We spend much of our time looking for birds, and the jaguars were kind of almost on the side.
Right. Yeah. See the little boat-billed herons that are like underneath the trees and stuff like that? They were really cute.
That was very hard to get a photograph of them.
Yeah. They like shoved our boat right up underneath the trees.
Yep.
So we could try to get pictures of them. Yeah. Well, one of the things that I did is when there was like we were in a quiet area and there was like all of these boats lined up. And I kind of stood up and I went, I bet I could ask if anybody here is from the San Francisco Bay Area. Are they photographers? 3 people in the boat right beside me. Yep. And one of them has presented here at the Bay Area Bird Photographers. I can't remember who his name was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times.
It's a small world.
He had a big monster, and I knew that. I was like, yeah, and I think it was a couple boats down that there was somebody else from San Francisco area too. Yeah. So it was pretty funny.
Fantastic. Actually, what I'm thinking, again, this has nothing to do with the bird photography per se, but just to have maybe an off cycle for wildlife in general, right? Why not?
Be kind of fun.
Yeah, we have plenty of stories. What's that?
Vivek, I'm happy to give you my email.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Just to show some beautiful, actually, lots of good stories around. When I travel to India, Vivek, I'm sure you've traveled to India and Tanzania and Kenya, all these places, right? Some very, very good stories we can share about big cats.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I will think about this and send out an email for a presentation then.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Have a good night. Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.